The first scream didn't come from the cages, it came from the crowd, when the collars failed to activate. That was the moment I knew something was wrong with the girl on the auction platform. And with myself. The orbital market of Virex 9 floated like a rusted crown above a dead planet. Its docks packed with ships from 100 species who preferred their sins legal, and their cruelty transactional. I had walked through war zones quieter than this place. The air stank of ozone, fear, and currency. Lives were tagged with prices. Hope was sold by the kilogram. I told myself I was there for information. I always did. But then the last auction lot was rolled out, and none of us were prepared for the truth. She stood alone on the platform, small compared to the others before her. Wrists bound in null-field cuffs that hummed angrily against her skin. No sedatives. No obedience implant. The handlers kept their distance, eyes flicking to the emergency shields. Lot 72, the auctioneer announced, voice metallic and bored. Species designation unknown. Recovered from the Ashbelt raids. Behavioral classification. Untamable. The crowd laughed. Nervous laughter. Predators mocking something they didn't understand. Her eyes lifted. Not pleading. Not afraid. Assessing. And when the control collar failed to spark, the laughter died. I'd seen hundreds of enslaved aliens in my time with the Coalition Navy. Broken ones. Drugged ones. This girl was different. Her skin shimmered faintly, like starlight trapped under ice. Fractaled markings traced her temples and neck, glowing softly with each measured breath. She couldn't have been more than 16 by human standards. But power radiated from her. Coiled. Waiting. What happens if she breaks free? Someone whispered behind me. The auctioneer hesitated. That never happened. Well, he said, forcing a smile. Then the station's defense grid will. The girl tilted her head. The lights flickered. That was only the beginning. Bids started low. They always did. No one wanted to be first to claim a dangerous thing. A Drath syndicate lord raised a claw. A biotech consortium followed. Prices climbed, but slowly, cautiously, like hands reaching toward fire. I didn't bid. I told myself it wasn't my problem. Then a handler stepped too close. It happened faster than thought. The cuffs flared red. The girl screamed, not in pain but in rage, and the air folded inward. The handler was lifted off the platform, suspended as if by invisible threads. Bones cracked. His scream cut off as he slammed into the barrier, lifeless. Chaos erupted. Weapons came up. Shields slammed down. The girl dropped to her knees, gasping, eyes burning with something ancient and furious. Lot 72 is discounted, the auctioneer stammered, due to complications. Bidding stopped. One by one the buyers backed away. No one wanted her now. No one except me. I don't know why my hand moved. Maybe it was the way she looked at the crowd, not with hate but disappointment. Like we'd already failed some tests we didn't know we were taking. I'll pay, I said. The room went silent. The auctioneer blinked. Human bidder. Are you certain? I nodded. My heart was hammering. Name your price. A murmur rippled through the stands. Humans didn't buy untamables. We couldn't control them. We couldn't survive them. Sold, the auctioneer said quickly, relief dripping from every syllable. To the human. And just like that my life ended. And something else began. They brought her to a containment bay on my ship, the Wayfarer's Grief. Old freighter. Reinforced hull. Enough firepower to deter pirates, not gods. She sat on the floor, knees drawn up, watching me like a storm watches the shore. I'm not your master, I said, activating the medical scanner. I won't hurt you. Her voice when it came was soft. Precise. You paid for me. I paid to get you out, I replied. There's a difference. She studied my face, searching for lies. Whatever she saw made her frown. You are afraid, she said. Yeah, I admitted. That makes two of us. Her name was Cathis, at least that was the closest translation the ship's AI could manage. Her species had no record in Coalition archives. That alone should have terrified me. It did. Over the next days I learned fragments. Her people were called the Veruin. Engineered. Weaponized. Created by an ancient civilization that believed emotions were flaws to be erased. Until the Veruin learned to feel anyway. They were exterminated for it. Cathis was one of the last. But that was only the beginning, she told me, eyes distant. They made us to obey. I did not. That was the midpoint where everything changed. Because when the bounty hunters came for her, they didn't come with nets or guns. They came with priests. The station trembled as a warship dropped out of fold space, its hull etched with glyphs that hurt to look at. The Order of Silence. Fanatics who believed beings like Cathis were abominations, living errors that threatened the cosmic balance. They will not stop, Cathis whispered as alarms blared. They burned worlds for less. I could have run, sold her location, saved myself. Instead, I armed the ship. What I saw next changed everything. When the Order breached our shields, Cathis didn't lash out blindly. She stood beside me on the bridge, hands shaking, fighting herself harder than the enemy. If I release it, she said, voice breaking, I will not be able to stop. I looked at her. Really looked. Not a weapon. Not a prize. A girl who had been told her entire existence was a mistake. Then don't release it alone, I said. We'll face it together. She screamed as the power surged. Not outward but inward. The ship's system stabilized instead of collapsing. Enemy weapons misfired. Reality bent not to destroy but to protect. Human intuition. Alien power. Something new was being born. The Order retreated. The warship vanished into fold space, wounded and afraid. In the silence that followed, Cathis collapsed. I caught her before she hit the deck. You chose, she murmured. That is forbidden. Yeah, I said softly. Humans are good at that. We didn't go back to Coalition space, or anywhere on the maps. We found a dead star system and built a home from wreckage and hope. Over time others came. Refugees. Outcasts. Species deemed inconvenient. They listened to Cathis. She never ruled them. She stood among them. And when the Order returned years later, with fleets and fire and scripture, they found something they had never accounted for. A community worth fighting for. I stood on the hull of the Wayfarer's Grief, older now, scars etched deep. Cathis stood beside me, taller, stronger, eyes calm. You could have left, she said. So could you, I replied. She smiled, small, human, real. We were both untamable, she said. The fleets clashed. Stars burned. History pivoted on a choice made in a filthy auction hall by a frightened human who refused to walk away. When it was over, the Order was gone. Not destroyed but changed. Forced to reckon with a truth they'd tried to erase. That power without compassion was just another kind of slavery. Cathis watched the stars in silence. I was sold once, she said. Never again. I looked at her, at what we'd built from nothing. Neither were we, I said. And as the new dawn spread across a system that finally had a name, I realized something that would echo through the ages. The auction didn't end when I paid for her. It ended when she chose to stay.